we're going to be talking about Polymarket. It's not a new dropshipping website or used clothing app or dating site.
It's a platform where users can actually bet on just about anything. So US striking Iran, sports bets, or even that Jeffrey Epstein is going to become alive again in 2027. Supporters, of course, say it's not betting, it's investing.
We want to go deeper into this topic. So to do that, we're joined by two great guests. First up, we've got Jonathan Cohen. He's the author of Losing Big, America's Reckless Bet on Sports Gambling. He's also the policy lead at the American Institute for Boys and Men. Joining us as well, we have Alex Goldenberg. He's a research fellow at Rutgers University looking at intelligence and online threats.
I have to say, Polymarket, looking at this, it feels insanely risky. Alex, what are the risks actually when you buy a contract on, say, the Iran-US nuclear deal?
It's a great question. Look, prediction markets are pretty interesting, and they work great for a lot of things. Election forecasting, technology launches, even corporate earnings. But what I'm particularly concerned about is when you apply them to military operations, you can create risks that are fundamentally different. That's what got me writing about this, especially after the operation to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on January 3rd. Hours before that operation, an anonymous account placed roughly $30,000 betting that an operation would happen on that day. And that position in less than 24 hours netted $400,000 in profit, or a 1,200% return. And the timing suggests that that trader had insider knowledge of that operation.
Yeah, I want to talk more about insider knowledge, insider trading, if we can call it that. But Jonathan, I've got a quote for you, and it goes something like this. It's a site where you can basically bet on current events. And that quote is from Shane Copeland, the Polymarket founder and CEO. But then at the same time, it seems like we're calling this investing. What am I missing here?
Well, first of all, I'm just mad that Alex is blowing up my spot that I bet $30,000 and they go from Maduro to get captured. And I don't know why he's telling everybody on TV that I did that. These are in the U.S. especially. These are sort of existing in, let's call it, a regulatory gray area, this sort of regulatory loophole where technically they are investment platforms and they are regulated in the United States as investment platforms. But of course, and practically speaking, these are obviously gambling platforms, and obviously we can talk about sort of the political events and all the being able to gamble on or invest in who's going to be a bridesmaid in Taylor Swift's wedding. But in the U.S., the largest prediction market is Kalshi, and 90 to 95% of the trading volume on Kalshi is on sports. So what these are in the United States, at least, is effectively sports betting operations sort of disguised as prediction markets with sort of the national security, elections, other sort of forecasts layered on top of what is, effectively just a gambling platform.
I want to follow up on that, Jonathan, because it seems like if you're investing in something, you're supposed to get something for your investment, but that's not what's happening here, right?
Right, or maybe even if you don't get something, like someone has to get something, right? Like I'm buying stock in Apple, and Apple now it's like a more valuable company for me having bought stock in it. The New England Patriots were not more likely to win the Super Bowl if I bought a investment contract that predicted that they were going to win the Super Bowl. So there's no sort of secondary value created by an event contract or any contract that you're purchasing. The only value is my entertainment. So that to me is where maybe if you were going to draw a line, and the line has always been thin, but if you were going to draw a line between gambling and investing, that's the kind of thing where I would draw. And I think when it's about entertainment, it's gambling. And when it's about some actual purpose that or that benefits others, then maybe you can call it investing, maybe speculation. And then I'm more willing to acknowledge, okay, maybe these are investment platforms. But right now, I just don't see it.
And also, Jonathan, when you look at it from the outside, at least when I did, it also feels like the game is a bit rigged. So it could be like an opportunity for famous or really, really wealthy people, to spin the odds in their favor. For example, there seem to be contracts on what Elon Musk is doing like every week. So he could just set up trades on himself or buy contracts on himself and just make massive amounts of money, couldn't he?
I mean, technically, no. The companies claim they have sort of robust insider trading protections. in fact, they don't. And this is the problem to me is if the way these companies justify themselves is that they are elevating the wisdom of the crowds, that these are truth machines, right? That's sort of the way they talk about themselves. But if you were really a truth machine, you should allow and welcome insider trading, because it's somebody in the Trump administration clearly had insider information that Nicolas Maduro was going to get captured. And we used our truth machine to divine that information, to get that information out into the crowd before it was sort of made public. But of course, they want to legally operate as websites, and they can't claim, just like the stock market, they can't say, oh, we love insider trading. Insiders, come trade as much as you want. So they have to say they're against insider trading without actually providing any protections against insider trading, even though insider trading would actually benefit their business model, or at least what they claim their business model is all about.
Right. So, like, truth machine, maybe truth magnet, like how much is the truth worth to bet on? Alex, I want to ask you more about this, because it seems like a truth magnet. You know, on a sports game, if someone has insider information about a teammate being injured, that's one thing. But then when you have inside information about a military strike, like the Venezuela situation that we were talking about earlier, that has real world ramifications.
No doubt. Look, insider trading on sports is definitely problematic.
100%.
But when you're betting on sports, no one dies. At least I hope not. But I think the calculus is much different when you apply kind of the same kind of economics to territorial disputes in Ukraine, for example. In November, someone was manipulating the frontline map that Polymarket uses to settle territorial bets. And someone within, I think it's called the deep state map, actually fabricated a Russian advance timed precisely to trigger payouts, and then erased all the evidence after a massive settlement. What really alarms me, though, it's one thing to trade on insider information, but what really alarms me is the agency issue that this structure creates.
Okay.
Picture this. As I mentioned, Polymarket has these village-level territorial control maps that, you know, where people can bet on whether a specific train station in Ukraine is, you know, captured by the Russians and when. And you have Ukrainian soldiers that make $500 a month. Russian soldiers make maybe $1,000 to $2,000 a month. A small bet, which is entirely possible in these markets, represent 10 months' salary of a Ukrainian soldier. So think of a mid-level commander deciding not to push or retreat from a particular situation or a particular advancement in order to trigger a payout. So now, do we defend a position or fall back? That should be purely a military calculation, but we're introducing this new financial dimension, which in my opinion is increasingly problematic. And just this morning, this interview is apropos. Just this morning, we had the first arrests for military insider trading on these prediction markets. Police say an Israeli civilian and 2 IDF reservists were arrested for gambling on Polymarket using classified military information and profiting in the hundreds of thousands. And what are the Israelis worried about? Sure, it's a problem that people are making money on classified information. But if you're the Iranians, for example, which the Israelis are in conflict with, you're monitoring these Polymarkets and seeing, is there a pattern of high conviction, i.e. a lot of money, low probability bets that the Israelis are going to hit me today or tomorrow? And that's essentially giving, you know, the Israelis' adversary in a conflict a potential heads up that an imminent strike is coming.
Yeah.
I mean, this has so much Hunger Games vibe to it. It's almost like it makes you shake innerly, like, wow. I think another thought that triggered my head when I watched Polymarkets for the first time is that there seems to be a bit of a connection between, you know, day trading amateurs, or, you know, you can make a lot of money on the Forex market, or me and my brother betting on Greek's 4th football league when we were teenagers. So, Jonathan, is this kind of the same target group again, you know, young men that kind of feel like they want to get ahead by gambling?
As far as we know, yes. And a lot of the advertising has been explicitly around that point. And this is partly because they're not regulated like gambling companies. So gambling companies technically aren't allowed to say, like, come gamble with us, win $1 zillion. But there's basically no rules about how Polymarket and Kalshi in the US are able to advertise. So they do exactly that. And again, as far as we know, yeah, it's primarily young men, maybe even, I mean, obviously because there's in the US a huge sports component, but also you get a lot of folks sort of from the crypto world and folks from who are online anyway and are being told, hey, it's not enough to even know about the Ukraine war anymore, right? Like, leverage your knowledge about the Ukraine war to make money, or leverage your knowledge about temperature in Miami or Taylor Swift's wedding or whatever the case may be. Like, leverage that to make money. Whether you're actually going to make money, I don't know. We can talk about sort of the dynamics of these websites and how they actually work and whether it actually provides an opportunity for someone to make money. But the promise is certainly there, in the same way that someone might go to day trading. But day trading is kind of hard. You have to know about stocks. You sort of figure out, but you don't have to know anything. You just have to know about football. Like, that's it. And then you can just start gambling away.
Hey, YouTube, thanks for checking out this preview of The Dip.
If you want more, check out the playlist, which is somewhere on the screen right now.
Somewhere, you'll find it. We believe in you. Or you can check out, of course, full podcast episodes. You can scan the QR code that's appearing on your screen right now, or you can check the link in the episode description.
But until then, thanks for watching
The Dip!